Welcome into another Locked On NBA Insider Report. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Antonio Daniels, our Locked On NBA Insider, Sirius XM radio host, knower of many basketball things. He joins us today on NBA Free Agency Day, and we love just so much is going on at all times. Things are rumored to be happening. Things are actually happening. People are getting extensions. People are opting out. Now, in terms of the 76ers, for them, it's a little bit of a wait and see situation right now. But James Harden opted out of his last year of his deal, but he wants to stay. And it's rumored that he wants to make a longer term deal. So what could that look like for them?
I think when you look at free agency, and all that's transpired today, the Philadelphia 76ers were the winner, to me. The reason is because of exactly what you just said. James Harden opted out of $47.5 million. And he did that for the Philadelphia 76ers, not for him. Because what he essentially is going to do is leave about $12 million on the table. And what that $12+ million allowed the financial flexibility of the Philadelphia 76ers to do was to now sign PJ Tucker to bring in Daniel House. So now when you add that to the puzzle, what James Harden did today is he's changing the perception around him.
Absolutely.
You know, there's always been a perception, right or wrong, around James Harden. Well, he doesn't really care about winning the championship. It's all about stats, blah, 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 so on and so forth. What James Harden showed today by opting out of $47.4 million is that he cares about winning that ring. He has put Philly in a great situation that he didn't have to, because he easily could have opted into $47.4 million. And PJ Tucker would have signed elsewhere. Daniel House would have signed elsewhere. Now you're basically coming back, staying pat. But what he did is, you just said it, he gave himself long-term flexibility as well, long-term security. Because, yes, he didn't opt into 1 year's $47.4 million, but what he may do is opt out and then sign for maybe 5 years, 150, 160, 170. But what he did for the Philadelphia 76ers, I think, can't be understated. That was huge, because what he did is he brought in a piece in PJ Tucker and Daniel House that, one, they needed, and two, there's a familiarity. He played with these guys in Houston along with Daryl Morey. So now it's slowly but surely, it's like, let's bring the gang back together again, just in a new city.
And I really hope he gets credit for it too, because I mean, he's been so many places, he shot his way out of town, and they're always selfish and all this, but it's like, hey, there's a lot of other people doing the same thing, first of all, right or wrong. And second of all, he's found a place where he feels like, you know, it didn't go the way they wanted last season, but the bones are there, you know, his coach is there, the system is there. And he's trying to do his best to make it better. So, I mean, that is not something we see a ton of. So, especially from big stars that make so much money. So for him to choose to do that, what can, obviously you mentioned two names that they've added, but how can this just kind of help them build going forward, just in terms of teamwork and just kind of unity? I feel like that really makes him a bigger part of the team.
Right, because you said it, James Harden before today, I feel like he was the guy who asked out of two different situations in a small amount of time. And that follows you. It does. Okay, you're in Houston, then you asked out of Houston, then you go to Brooklyn. Then you're in Brooklyn, it's like, well, you know, I don't want to be here either. Then you go to Philly, which many people feel like that's where he always wanted to be in the first place. You know, it's almost like Brooklyn was used as a stepping stone. And there are certain things that you can do as a star of a team to unite the team, to kind of show everybody, you know what, look, I'm all in. I am all in. I'm on board. I'm not just talking about winning the championship. I am willing to do what it takes to win a championship. This move by James Harden, this selfless move, and you said it, a lot of guys wouldn't do this. A lot of guys, even though we've seen guys do this before, we saw Tim Duncan do it, we see Golden State do it, we saw Kevin Durant do it in Golden State. We see guys leave money on the table to create financial flexibility for the team so they can bring in the right pieces. James Harden, after the year that he had and after the year that the Philadelphia 76ers had, as disappointing as the ending was, to see him respond like this and to make a selfless act like this, I am with you, Kainani. I hope he gets the credit he deserves for putting Philly in a much better situation than they were when the season ended.
And you have to think it's going to give the team some goodwill as well, because they really were at that turning point, right? So like they super talented, got to the playoffs, kind of all went south, right? And it really could be like a finger pointing situation where it could go quite poorly, as it has in the past for them and other teams. But to bring back, some of your best players, add some really good role players and additions to this team, and then hopefully have your health, right? Because they were projected, they could have easily won the East if all had gone well. So now they're really, if he gets a new deal, they're really giving themselves a solid chance at making a run at a title.
So now if you look at the Eastern Conference, right, you have Milwaukee, you have Miami, you have Philly. You did have Brooklyn, but now we know we can eliminate Brooklyn from that conversation. So, and you were right. If I am the Philadelphia 76ers, especially when I can look at the Brooklyn Nets and see things coming apart at the seams, I would think, okay, Milwaukee, Miami, those are the real two teams that honestly we have to compete with. We have Joel Embiid, we have James Harden, we have we have young talent that's
they match up
really,
well
really
against
good.
them as well. Yeah,
no
exactly.
question. No question. And you're bringing in a guy like P.J. Tucker, who has experience with both those teams. He won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks and advanced last year with Miami to the Eastern Conference Finals. You have Boston as well. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And you also have Boston.
Yeah.
If I am in that Philadelphia 76ers locker room, I feel like we are the best team in the East. I do. With the star power that we have returning, and with the role players that we now have signed in P.J. Tucker and Daniel House as well. And you said it. Familiarity, chemistry, camaraderie is incredibly important. Doc Rivers still being at the helm there's a comfortability factor that's involved as well.
And he's won a championship, so we know he can make it work with once he gets his role players in there, make all the stars get along, and this might be his second best feat after that Rondo and Ray Allen fight. If he can get James Harden and Embiid and everybody on the same page, he can do it
Easier
again.
said than done, though. That's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
One of the most underrated things in this league is coaching talent. Coaching talent's hard. People automatically assume if you have talent that you should automatically win. You have to get everybody on the same page. And I think what James Harden did today, Kainani, shows that he's on the same page with everyone else.
It's absolutely huge. And I hope he gets the credit he deserves. And I hope he gets a good deal from it and can stay there for a while to see if they can make this work. We'll have to wait and see what the exact deal is, but obviously going the right way. I think they're talking over the weekend. So hopefully next week we'll have some info on that. Antonio, thank you for joining us as always. We appreciate you. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On NBA.